And welcome to All Beer Inside Interviews. Today we are in the Orleans region at Orleans Brewing Company with Célia. Thank you for having us today.
Thank you.
So what's the Orleans beer story? What made you create the brand?
So Yann has been a beer lover since I met him, and he bought his first kit when he was 16 years old, and it's been his dream to start a brewery. So the time came, I was on leave because of a medical issue, and it was just the right time for him to switch from printing to brewery.
Yep. And it's just, that's it? Just open a brewery?
Yeah.
Perfect.
Pretty much. He was also turning 40, and the joke is that I chose a new career for him before he chose a new wife. So, yeah, so far it's been good. I'm still here.
Oh, that's funny. So what were some of the problems that you had basically creating location, building problems? What kind of?
So we were one of the first ones in Ottawa to open under the new zoning where we were allowed to mass produce beer, sell the beer, and serve the beer at a main street. So there were a lot of delays, a lot of confusion within the city for the permits. Other than that, we were and still are one of the luckiest breweries to deal with AGCO. We had no issues with them. We haven't had issues with LCBO, or it was all at the municipal level, unfortunately.
So you brought me a couple of beers to try today. What's the first one I'm trying right now?
So that is Bob Bison, our amber APA.
Okay.
It has 2 different hops. It has a nice malty backbone to it. It still has some bitterness to it, and it's like a borderline IPA.
It tastes like between an English bitter and an IPA. It's really very interesting.
So it's funny that you mentioned that, because one of Yann's favorite beers is an English bitter. And that was Yann's first beer that he brewed for the brewery.
This is super tasty. What's the alcohol percentage on this?
It's 6% and a 48 IBU.
Wow. Don't taste 48 IBU. Like tasting, I'd say maybe I'm not super sensitive to the hops, so I can usually put down a couple of New England IPAs where it's just like, I'm going to have some 7% beers and 100 IBU. I
find that the caramelization really kind of balances off the hops in that one.
Awesome. So why Orleans Brewing Company? Not some wild name like Célia and Yann's Brewery and stuff like that?
So Yann is he was born in Maniwaki and raised in Chelsea on the Quebec side. We decided to get married and live downtown in the market. And when we decided to grow our family, we looked for a place that we could both call home. I'm originally from Orleans, and he fell in love with the city, or the region. And when we went to open, we did have a few other names, but it all came down to us wanting to be part of a community and making the community feel like this was theirs.
Amazing. So your community home and bread and all that stuff. That's great to hear. Like Billy Bison and Kölsch Ousside, and all these other names. Where does that come from?
So the Kölsch Ousside is a name that was actually created at our kitchen table with our 2 kids. At the time, our oldest was 14, and this was a viral girl that was on Dr. Phil, and we were playing with the name Kölsch for cold and stuff. So she's like, "Hey, Kölsch Ousside." It's like, "How about that?" So it stuck, and it's been a conversation starter ever since. So we've kept it. The other names, it's just us finding things online or expressions that the staff uses, and we all get together and come up with names. So
very cool. And so I noticed you have the bison on the label predominantly. What brought you to that as a label?
So the bison is not originally from this area, but it is a reflection of our beers. So it's prehistoric animal that survived the Ice Age, very strong, but it's also one of the smoothest and docile wild animals out there. So it goes to the Kölsch Ousside, which is our lagered ale, which is a very mainstream entry-level beer for the non-craft beer drinkers, but also the craft beer drinkers that want something lighter, and all the way down to our Imperial Stout, our Russian Imperial Stout at a 9.5, or the triple at a 10. So, and the fact that the bison is wearing a vest, we all know that they don't need it, but it's the part of us wanting to have fun with everything. The red and the black and the white, there's nothing more Canadian than that kind of plaid. And it also speaks to the sports team, or the Red Blacks, the Senators, the 67s, the Furies back then. So it's just the city spirit colors.
Cool. Awesome. Do you brew it all, or?
I actually brewed my first beer last month for Women's Day, which we're about to launch. Jamie and I brewed it. It's Jamie's third beer brewing. She used to work at another brewery and collaborated with them for Women's Day, and it's our first one here. So,
are you part of the Society of Beer Drinking Ladies at all, or I guess do you have them come in since they're in the region?
They've been in. We're actually doing an event with them, which is the Bevies next month.
Cool. And so you mentioned an event now. A very interesting event I found online is you have a fairly large beer pong tournament.
We do.
What made you come up with it? I mean, beer pong, obviously everybody plays it. There's a World Series in Vegas. Like, why do you want to be kind of Canada's central, I guess, first big one when you think about it?
So Ryan Pownell, who is the creator of the Beer Pong Palooza, approached us. We have a common friend, and they put us in contact. He is originally from Orleans and thought that instead of going with a bigger brand, he wanted to bring it back home.
Okay.
So that's how we started with it. It's a funny story is that we have a beer pong table in our own basement and take it out all the time. So it was fun to be approached to do that event.
Yeah. I'm a big fan of beer pong. I used to be part of back in Montreal. It's called Montreal Beer Pong. One of the guys out of there was actually in the Vegas finals, I think, like 10 years ago.
Oh wow!
So I'm like, oh my god, like this is amazing. I love beer pong. You don't have to drink if you don't want. It's basically like darts. But
exactly.
Like when we set up a table with friends and family, we don't drink. It's all water, and then I put my beer on the side because I don't. We played it drinking at a friend's house with a cat, and we're just like, cat hair, delicious. So, yeah. So you're mentioning events. Any collabs you've done for the beers?
So we haven't done a collab with other breweries yet because we wanted to make sure that our full lineups were up to par to our standards. And but we have done some collabs with other businesses in the area. So there is one which is the Cody's Brew we did for Valerie's Flutter Foundation, which is we give proceeds to the foundation to research cancer.
Awesome.
And then we also did, the same beer is done with coffee from Happy Goat, which is a local roaster.
Any dream collabs you'd like to do in the area, or Ottawa, or Canada? Or
you know what? There's so many great breweries out there. Both Yann and I are not of the thinking that we push things. We're very, we want to grow organically and create these collaborations organically. So I'm sure that when the time comes and we click with another brewery that has the same visions and kind of lines that we're going for, it'll come to fruit.
So your fellow homegrown people in their garage starting type thing? People.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome.
And our brewer actually brewed all of our pilots out of our garage for 6 months while we were waiting for the brewery to finally get open.
It was very unique. It was a few years ago, but they're called Conspiracy Theory. They're in an earlier interview, and he was out of his garage. And it was weird. I'm like, this is a guy's house. Ring the bell. He's like, a kid answers. I'm like, okay, we're looking for the beer guy. He's like, oh, I'll go get my dad. Yeah. Like, okay, this is weird, but you have a very unique law in Ontario where you can split your house to business and play it when you think about it.
Yeah, we didn't have that. Okay. We weren't selling out of our house, although Google had our house address, and people would come and knock on the door and want to buy beer from us.
That must be fun and a pain in the butt at the same time. What's the beer number 2 I'm trying right now?
So that is Juicy McHazy. It's our New England style IPA. It has notes of pineapple, grapefruit, and candied tangerine peel, and it's delicious. It's also a 6%.
Beautiful nose. It's delicious.
It has a lot of hop flavor to it, but it has a nice sweetness that comes in at the end and rounds it out.
Yeah, that's it. I'm getting the nice sweetness, like, ending on my tongue. It's beautiful beer. Any beer vacations you've done? I'm assuming you're way too busy right now, but have you done any before?
So Yann and I have traveled quite a bit before we started the brewery, and every single time we would choose a country, we would always take some time to go visit some breweries. So we've done it in Spain and Portugal, Aruba, the States. So, yeah.
Any dream ones when maybe you get a couple of weeks to get
Belgium.
away? Belgium.
I would love to go to Belgium and travel there.
Yeah.
Yann would like to do Germany as well. So.
Yeah, that's what we're hoping is. I've told my friends, I'm like, I want to drink with a monk. I want to go to a Trappist monastery. I want to drink with a monk.
Maybe we'll go on the trip together.
Oh, even better. So your typical Bud Molson drinker, they come in. What do you suggest they try first to try something new?
The first that I would offer them would be the Kölsch Ousside. It's the one that we decided to launch in the LCBO for the same reason. It is a 4.8%, 24 IBU, so low on the spectrum. It's still crafty and complex, but very easy to drink.
Awesome. When people have come and they've had your variety of beers, any friends you suggest they try in the area?
Oh, so the Easton has been booming lately. We have a few around us. My favorite one, even before we opened, was Dominion City. So that is one that I recommend, and we get a lot of recommendations from them coming here as well. So, and maybe a collab down the road. Who knows?
Yeah, share the love.
Yeah.
So what's next for your brand, for the Orleans Brewing Company brand?
So we chose this location because it is basically an extension to people's backyard. So we don't plan on leaving this location. We do want to go into grocery stores and the beer store, which means a larger facility. So the second part of this project would definitely be getting a second location for not mass production, but a larger production facility without the tap room.
Yeah, more hectoliters when you.
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome. Now you had mentioned earlier you brewed a beer for International Women's Day.
We did,
which is on today's recording. What made you decide that? What made you bring out, girl power in a sense when you think about it?
We tried. This was an idea that we wanted to do last year as well, but because of the delays, we didn't have time to do it. Jamie joined our team in the fall, and she's phenomenal and was like gung-ho on doing it. So we joined our forces against the boys, and we did a pomegranate milkshake IPA.
Do you find there's starting to be more women in brewing?
Definitely.
Awesome. Yeah, we're hoping at some point to be speaking to the Society of Beer Drinking Ladies, and I understand Bicycle Correct Craft is also owned by a woman, so we want to get that out there. It's not just a boys' game anymore. It's
exactly.
So. Awesome.
There's a saying that I read today is that 50% of the population are women, and the other 50 come from women.
Amazing.
So, yeah.
Awesome. Okay, I have no other questions for you today, so let the people know where they can find you in person and online and all the good stuff.
So we're located at 4380 Innes Road. If you're coming down Innes, we are on the south side at 10th Line, and you just swing around Bank of Montreal, and we're right there. You can find us online at www.orleansbrewing.com, and our hashtags is Orleans Brewing for Twitter and Instagram, and for Facebook, it's Orleans Brewing Co.
Perfect, and we're going to add all that in the show notes, and you could find them in person if you're in the Orleans region. Take a little trip here. You can see their hours online on Google and stuff. As for us, at All Beer Inside everywhere, allbeerinside.com for the monthly audio. We will be releasing these as audio alone. And as I always say, drink craft, not crap. Thank you.
Thank you.